All of life is a coming home. Hello, friends, and welcome. I'm so glad that you are joining me again for one of these weekly Sunday reflections. I hope that everybody had a good holiday season. I know that sometimes the holidays can be difficult. They can be stressful in their busyness, and they can also be a reminder of things that we've lost and people that we've lost. And so there can be very mixed feelings during that season. But we've made it to this side of the holidays, and I invite you to take a breath with me. And here we stand at the beginning of a new year. And I know, I sometimes think New Year's is kind of a silly thing because it's just one date that we've ascribed to being the start of a new year. We're constantly moving around the sun all times of year. It's not like we stop and reset. But sometimes this can be a time to remind us to reflect on the year that's been behind and to maybe set goals for the year ahead. I also invite us to be thinking about being in this time right now, because this can be a time when we can get stuck in the past or so worried about the future that we aren't present. And I know that can be a problem for me as well. So I want to tell you about the first time that I had to, as a music therapist, be with a person who was actively dying without any supervision. This was during my internship at Methodist Hospital, which had included oncology, Parkinson's, and hospice. And I was afraid of the hospice. I really didn't want to do that part. But it was part of the internship. So I had been supervised with my internship supervisor right there. I'd observed and then been supervised by her with a client who was dying. But to actually be with someone without that backup was a little intimidating. And I was a little afraid. And there was a nurse who kind of, I will admit at first I was a little afraid of her. She seemed a little gruff. But I came to realize that she had this incredibly compassionate heart about her. But about the third time I tried to go knock on the door and had kind of hesitated, I just suddenly heard this, psst, hey. She motions me over and I come over and I said, hi, what? And she's like, you know that patient is going to die, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, is there anything you can do about it? Is there one thing you can do to prevent that? No. Well, what can you do? What can you affect? You can't affect the outcome. And I stood there a little dumbfounded, and then she said, you can change the experience. You can bring beauty into an otherwise ugly situation. You can support this person and their family through this transition. And you can bring a calm and a peace. I said, I think I can do that. And she said, so what you need to do is focus on what you can control and let the rest go, which turned out to be really good advice for life for me as well, in many other circumstances. So she said, now get in there and get to work. And I had been afraid of hospice, but I immediately fell in love with it. And I did it for more than 22 years as a music therapist. And it's definitely a place that found me. And so I did that for about 22 years. And then before the pandemic started, I was looking at going to United Theological Seminary, studying theology and the arts, because I wanted to sort of integrate my spirituality with my music and with things like photography and production that I had done before. I wanted to find a way to bring those things together. And so I had started school for that and was exploring this. And all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and I had no music therapy clients that I could get to. So I had a day of sort of panic when a pastor friend called me up and said, hey, we need help. We don't really know how to do this online thing. We're not set up for live streaming. We don't have broadband internet available to us. We don't really think it's the right way anyway. Can you help? And this led me to help them and several other churches, and led me eventually to working for one church in particular for almost 6 years doing that work, while still doing some music therapy work. But when my aunt this last spring died, I spent a lot of time by her bedside. And as hard as it was, it also reminded me how much I missed the work. So unfortunately, several months ago, this church made the decision to stop doing digital ministry, which is an unfortunate one in the 21st century post-pandemic era. Without having a strong digital presence, it's really hard for a church to continue, but that was their choice, and it was theirs to make. But I knew that I was also getting tired of all of the screen time that went with that job, and I knew that there had to be another way, or that I really needed to rethink about how I was serving and how sustainable my work was for me. So I recently decided that I am going back as a music therapist to doing hospice work, but I am only going to be doing that part-time, because I am going to continue a lot of my digital work with churches, although it's going to be in a different capacity, be doing some freelance work. More importantly, I think I told a lot of you that have been with me from the beginning that this Sunday Reflection series was something I was going to do through the end of the year and then decide if it was going to continue. And I have decided that it is important to continue, and that many, many people have supported me through this, and both emotionally and several, although it's not necessary, but several have supported me financially. If that is something you would like to do, there is a PayPal link that should be below the video. Again, not necessary. But so many people have supported me in this work, and I feel like it's important. And I feel that I need to work to create this space. My entire life, whether it's been at a bedside as a musician or here, was to try and work to create sacred, calming space. So here I am with all of you, and I am going to be continuing this, and I hope that many of you will stay with me. And again, I just appreciate the support so much. So as we are heading into this new year, which it's a time when a lot of people set goals, and like I said, we look back. But I hope that we will focus on our presence this year, and that we will set goals and be kind with ourselves when we don't achieve our New Year's resolution. Self-compassion is important, and maybe that's the best resolution of all. That in this new year, after such a hard year, that we take care of ourselves, that we work to be present, that we love ourselves and we love others. Endings can be hard. Beginnings can be hard. Beginning again can sometimes be even harder. But all of these things offer us opportunities for growth. We may grieve, we may struggle, but in the end, this is also how we grow. I think 2025 has been a really bad year for a lot of us. I will admit it's been one of the worst in my life due to some losses and other things. And I'm definitely looking forward to a reset. And I am going into the new year with a lot of abundance of opportunity and a lot of beautiful things that I know are going to happen in this year. And I thank you all for being a part of that journey. And I wish you all the very best as we enter this year. Stick around. We'll see what happens next. Peace be with you all. Have a good and safe new year. And we will see you throughout 2026. Peace.